Strangers from distant lands, friends of old. Today we will continue our investigation on Season 1 of the Rings of Power series. In this video, we will analyze the identity of the legendary elven warrior who fought the Balrog, resulting in the creation of MITHRIL. So who is this elven warrior? The best description we got was from the conversation between Gil-galad and Elrond.
On one side fought an elven warrior, with a heart as pure as Manwë, poured all his light into the tree to protect it. On the other, a Balrog of Morgoth channeled all his hatred into the tree to destroy it. Amidst their duel unending, lightning ensnared the tree.
Let's first inspect the location of this duel. The story takes place over the Misty Mountains, which are above the dwarven city Khazad-dûm. It will later be known as Moria, where the Fellowship of the Ring has passed through during the Third Age. We know most of the impactful events during the First Age occurred in Beleriand, a large land which was devastated and washed away at the end of the First Age. However, there is nothing to confirm or rule out that this could have taken place in the First or Second Age, based on the location. Regarding the possible time of this event, Season 1 was notoriously ambiguous about the absolute and relative times that the events occurred. We did not have much idea what year the events happened. The only information was that the main events of the series happened during the Second Age. Yet, since this is mentioned as a legend, it is probable that this duel might have occurred during the First Age. The most we got is that the elves mention centuries have passed since the War of Morgoth was defeated. As we don't hear any speech from the warrior, let's inspect the appearance. It seems the body armor is golden and silver, but there is one thing that is peculiar. We would like to draw your attention to the helmet. It is a rather common helmet, with the only exception of the spiked pattern at the top, which will have importance in the light of the following scenes. Based on this finding, let's quickly review the armors we saw in the episodes. The first time we see the elves in battle armor was during a ceremony where they seem to take an oath. This is a rather familiar scene to the book readers, which is supposed to parallel the oath of Fëanor, an oath taken to not rest until the 3 Silmarils were retaken by the elves and to make war on any who withheld them. It is also important to notice that Finrod is seen taking the oath as well, which is not the case compared to the Silmarillion, the book that details the events. Here, the body armors with their intricate details can easily be seen, with no helmets inside. Next, a war known as the War of Wrath shows Finrod fighting, determined to win. We see many other fellow elves which wear the same golden armor and rounded helmets. It is somewhat strange that among all the action, Finrod is without a helmet, but perhaps this was done so that the audience can identify Finrod easily. We will come to this point in the next few minutes again. At the end of the battle, Galadriel is shown to pick up a spiked helmet, look devastated, and then put it among the hill of helmets. Although hard to see one by one, it could be seen that the rest of the helmets are rounded. After the prologue, there have been a few scenes where we see the guards of Lindon wear full body armor. One such scene is when Gil-galad was in Eregion, in episode 8. We see his bodyguards wearing winged helmets. One final scene that shows elven guards with their helmets on is during the farewell ceremony for Galadriel, where we see the exact spiked helmet on at least 3 other warriors. The scene by itself seems to lessen the importance or the uniqueness of this spiked helmet, but our theme thinks that this has a special significance. Having laid out all the evidence, we are ready to present our theory. We think that the legendary elven warrior fighting the Balrog was Finrod himself. And this is how we think the events leading up to Finrod's death play out. Coming from Valinor, Finrod must have been campaigning and fighting the forces of Morgoth in Middle-earth. During one such adventure, he came upon a lost Silmaril, a holy jewelry that he has taken an oath to retake. But he was so unlucky that he chanced upon a Balrog, one of the most fearsome enemies in Middle-earth. Their battle, during which Finrod was in his full armor and unique spiked helmet, ended up as a draw, and perhaps as Elrond described, the Silmaril got hit by lightning and disintegrated to form the MITHRIL in Moria. Both participants must have been exhausted and thought to call it a day and escape the scene. The Balrog went into hiding under the Misty Mountains, which we are shown a short scene during Season 1, and it is the same Balrog that will be known as Durin's Bane and got killed by Gandalf. After this duel, and perhaps many other small skirmishes, the War of Wrath occurred. Finrod must have dropped or was stripped from his spiked helmet, and it was that instance we are shown in the prologue. After the war concluded, Galadriel found this unique spiked helmet, and at that instance knew that Finrod was either taken by the enemy or was already dead. However, Finrod was not killed during the battle, but was captured by the forces of darkness and taken to the stronghold of Sauron. As told by Adar, Sauron was convinced to bring peace to Middle-earth, and probably used Finrod's body as well as his gear in his experiments to achieve the power of this unseen world. We think there is a side story related to Finrod's dagger being cursed by Sauron, which we discuss in a dedicated video and suggest you to check it out. After Adar split open Sauron and stopped his experiments, Finrod's body was either sent by the orcs or discovered by the elves, where we see Galadriel lamenting over his brother's dead body. Discovering Finrod was killed by the enemy, and considering his deeds to protect the Three and the Silmaril that was hiding within it, Gil-galad and the Linden elves must have decided to clothe their warriors that protect the heart of the kingdom, that is the Tree of Linden, with warriors wearing spiked helmets in the honor of Finrod. That is why we saw those 3 warriors during the farewell ceremony in episode 1. Hopefully, so far this explanation sounds quite probable, but it is likely that you think this theory is based on one scenario, that Finrod must have owned and used a spiked helmet. But in all these scenes, we have not seen one single shot of Finrod holding or wearing this kind of a helmet. If we have such evidence, this would make it quite foolproof. And here something quite remarkable happened, and this evidence does not come within the series, but outside of it. The actor playing Finrod, a gentleman called Will Fletcher, has shared a rather enigmatic image posing in his armor, and guess what? A spiked helmet on his head. It is quite likely that the showrunners opted to show Finrod without his helmet to rather misdirect the audience, so that it is not straightforward to connect the dots and conclude that the legendary elven warrior was Finrod. But here we are. We think it is rather fitting that the elf with the purest heart in the series be the savior with his life and with his death, and then become a legend and a beacon of hope for his people. This concludes today's video. We hope you enjoyed it, and if so, please consider subscribing to our channel to be the first to watch our next videos. With the second season of Rings of Power Insight, we will have ample evidence to prove these nuggets in this story. Until next time, Namarie.